what problems are you running into dating today? You said something about masculinity and certain values. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Similar to the narrative that you perpetuate, that men, like that women are only X, aka only visual beings, only this, and they only aspire to you at the finish line, you achieving full success. Then when they're partnering with someone like me, who I know that I have a lot of contribution, and I want to be in my femininity, and I start in my femininity, then they have such a skewed narrative of what leadership is in a family. And I think
this is what you're running into when you're dating. You're running into the guys.
Yeah, because I'm dating with an intention of finding my partner. Just like you say, you look at women and because you're looking biologically, want to find the person who's going to give birth to my kids. I'm looking the same way. I'm looking at my partner being like, all right, you are going to be the father of my children. My passion is wanting to have kids, right? And so therefore, I'm evaluating you. Yes, of course, I want you to have nice teeth or nice whatever, like just for my kids' sake, right? To combat my genetics maybe. But I'm also caring about your, like, who you are in your core.
Okay, so let me just set aside the message for a second. You said something about masculinity. What's the problem with masculinity when you're dating?
That they have a skewed idea of what true masculinity and leadership is.
So what's the idea that you're coming across?
I'm coming across that men often perpetuate the blinders, close my ears, I am right, hear me roar mentality. When I believe that there's a strength in there was like a term, it's like a subservient leader or something like that, and I think back to the most powerful men that I know and also in history, when they're willing to adjust and not just be like, okay, hey, here's my primary motives that I have to look out for, but they're also looking out for their pack, their tribe. They're caring about the overall well-being. And the scope of what masculinity is being defined in social media is I must close my ears and scream, and only my voice can be heard.
That's interesting. I mean, you're basically saying that every guy that you've come across is basically a subscriber of my channel and watches my stuff to the degree that you define it, which is not how I hold it out to the public.
No, I mean, obviously not your channel, but I would more or less say...
Which is impossible because I reach almost nobody. The world's a very big place and I don't reach everybody.
It would be, and the crazy thing is, and again, I'm not here knocking, obviously I'm here for a reason, and my purpose is because I think it's so important for us to have an open dialogue, because in our core values, I don't think you and I are different in the core, but I think we have to be careful of how we're sharing the message. And I think we're just minimizing the values. And I think one of the reasons I can even just tell from Kelly's body language and things like that, she was shutting down a little bit because of some of the things that you were saying, is that it's important that we recognize the role of man and woman. And I think sometimes and as women and feminists, we get so...
Hold on a sec. Let me just stop you there for a sec. You said we need to recognize the role of men and women, but then you're also saying that men are, would you say hear me roar, yell?
Like they'll close their ears and just scream into the wind kind of thing, yeah.
Scream what into the wind, though?
I'm being very hyperbolic right now, but I'm more or less meaning a lot of the times they believe that the loudest one in the room is the strongest one in the room. They believe that and we've even talked about it and touched it in the beginning of the podcast, where we talk about that, if
what kind of guys you normally date? Like, you dating Muslim guys or?
Yeah, I would say majority, just for my own whatevers, they tend to be Muslim, but yeah.
So it's fair to say that's due to their own upbringing, not because of the content that they're watching.
No, yes and no. I think there's an influence of, because of their upbringing, being brought up in a very patriarchal society, 100% contributes, 100%. However, I've also been...
Why would you expect different from them then?
But I also, the interesting thing is that I have a baby brother who is a phenomenal young man and growing into an awesome human. And he is not a subscriber to you, I don't believe, but just in the narrative of it all, and watching kind of the choices that he makes and hearing him and kind of trying to understand the why behind him. He just recently got married, and some of the choices that he's making for his marriage. And I'm realizing, I'm like, but why aren't you viewing it as a partnership? They lose sight of the partnership. The beauty of, I believe in a subservient wife. And I know that sounds really aggressive to women or feminists because they think subservient is terrible and disgusting. But I think that's strength and beauty. I find a lot of beauty in submission. I think it's the most gorgeous and wonderful thing a woman can offer. And so that being said, the subservient wife isn't supposed to just sit back and just nod, and like, that's not what a subservient wife is. They are supposed to be the partner. They are supposed to be the aid. Even if you look biblical, or if you want to go religious, you don't have to. There's a lot of reference to the female being the aid, helping the patriarch, helping the head of the household. And I think a lot of the narrative that gets lost when you're talking about finding a partner. You're losing sight of, you need to find a partner who will be your aid, who will help you be a king. And, you know, in whatever retrospect that you want to say it, and we can talk about.
Okay, so here's where I'm left completely, like, I'm lost. I'm just utterly, confused, because I mean, you're saying that you want to fall into a feminine role, you want to be led, you want to be with a strong masculine men, and then you're finding guys that you're dating who are strong masculine men that you don't like. Do I?
No. You asked me what pitfall I'm hitting when I was dating, or when I'm dating. The pitfall I'm hitting is, even when I'm having initial interactions, is that, okay, maybe they're checking the aesthetic mark. Sure, that's not even part of the conversation, nor do I care to have that be. But then when I actually get to have a successful conversation with them and start to kind of dig away at what their core values are, that's where the unalignment is coming in. So I'm not saying the men I'm choosing, I'm saying when I'm dating, that's the
okay. So where are they misaligned?
But you're choosing men that are historically and are contemporary, that hold those views. I mean, the types of men that you're going after, in Muslim culture, men are the patriarchs. They're the leaders. I mean, yeah. But you keep trying to attribute it to the content that we put out, and I don't see. And I also have an issue with the way it's being framed, where when we say that, when beauty is very important and it's the number one attraction trigger, or it's the most prevalent for men, no one's ever said that it's the only thing.
But when I posed the question of what are the other values, it wasn't answered. I guess that's why I was like, I would love to. I genuinely, being so sincere, I would love to understand.
Well, I think like 80. Yeah, but someone like, I think that what you're missing here is about 80% of the attraction cues for guys are the beauty cues. But we also want her to, if we're sick, to take care of us. Mm-hmm. If we're hungry, to feed us, sort of thing. Yeah. If we've got a disorganized home, to to help us with it and to organize it, right? Like, it goes beyond the beauty aspect of it, but the thing that
But I don't care how good she can cook. If I'm not attracted to her and I don't want to get into bed with her, she's not going to be my woman.
Right. I don't think anyone disagrees with the level of you have to have it. You have to be attracted to your partner. Point blank, period, end of sentence. I don't think anyone could disagree with that sentence. You have to be attracted to your partner.
So why are you trying to minimize the attraction criteria that men have?
I'm not. I'm minimizing.
You're saying men should be attracted to other things.
I'm illuminating that the narrative is minimizing the contribution of the female.
Because
they're not as important as the beauty aspect of it.
So my thing is,
less important.
Earlier asked me what I thought of the term as beauty object. Mm-hmm. I agree with you with the beauty part. Yes, I agree with you. I mean, that's your first impression, but I don't agree with the object part. And then now you're saying,
so you don't like the word object, then, is what it is.
Yeah, I don't like to be called an object.
Yeah, so you can substitute it for anything else.
I know, but later on, that's when you change it up. That's when you said beauty. I don't even know, Q or whatever, and it's like, okay, why did I get that object part? Like, I just
men have it too. We're saying
there's a professor by the name of Dr. Warren Farrell that wrote a book on the subject matter, and he distilled his observations down that women view men as success objects and men view women as beauty objects. That's all that is.
Yeah. I guess I was just like, I
More
know
s-
it's like the word
More
object.
specifically, he actually said that women are
More
specifically, he actually said that women are sex objects, not just beauty objects.
It's true.
I'm just trying to be a little bit more
No, you're
diplomatic
not.
here for YouTube.
Yeah. So I mean, I agree with you because I know a lot of immature men, but not all men think that way, of course, because you have the stats right there. But like,
Well, maturity has nothing to do with it, though, Kelly. Like that's a reality of what men are attracted to and how they
you're
make
right.
choices.
You're right. It doesn't matter what age or how mature they are, but the immature ones are obviously going to be the most obvious.
No. You're taking it back to maturity levels. That's
I think
that's almost insulting. You know, it's how men like. I tell men to pay very, very close attention to what women react to and what they respond to, not what they've been told to do. Like, for example, a lot of guys will try to resign themselves to the friend zone to be with women. There's an entire army of men out there that are on Reddit right now that are like, I've been friend zoned 30 times and I'm such a great guy. And I don't understand why these women cry on my shoulder and go off and fuck Mr. Exciting. Right.
So it's all the woman's fault.
Is it though?
No.
It's the guy's fault for putting himself in the friend zone because that's hear me out though. That's how women respond to guys that behave like that. They're not going to prioritize them, and they're certainly not going to prioritize intimacy with a guy like that who's a dork. I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full-length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here and pin down below in the top comment. You'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.